So recently, WB Games released access to a closed beta version of the new Multiversus Smash game. The latest trailer showed us a new look at some of the characters we will see in the beta and finished game. On top of the already iconic cast, we got a fresh new look at Velma from Scooby-Doo, Taz from the Looney Tunes, and of course my personal favourite reveal, the Iron Giant. Finally getting to meet his hero Superman. My god, it's so touching. But today I want to talk about the characters we didn't get, because of course we already know that more characters will be released upon launch, and Warner has a ton of iconic characters within their library of IP to choose from. So first things first, before we begin, I'd like to address a few things. If you don't already know, some characters have already been leaked for this game, but I'm going to, for the most part, ignore these leaks, as I haven't done a lot of research about their validity, so we're just going to pretend that they're fake for the most part. I'm also going to be ranking how likely I believe each character will appear in the game, from almost guaranteed to possible to improbable. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. So, first things first, we got the Wizarding World. Looking at Multiversus now, we have no characters from the Harry Potter universe within it yet, which I think will definitely be expected to see some pop up at some point, because I mean, it's one of the biggest franchises that WB has the IP for. And a lot of the characters are pretty beloved, pretty iconic, so I mean, it's kind of just a given. If it weren't for Arya Stark being in the game from Game of Thrones, I may be a little hesitant to put any live-action characters on this list, but considering we already have someone there, I think it's pretty safe to assume that we can expect more live-action characters in this game. So the obvious choice is clearly Harry Potter, which I think is pretty much guaranteed to be in this game. He's obviously the main character of the entire franchise, it's named after him. Not much else to say there. I think it could be really fun, iconic, a lot of opportunity for different skins and stuff. He has so many appearances. I think that's definitely going to be in the game. My next two I'm going to pair together because I think they both have an equal likelihood of showing up. So we got Voldemort and Dumbledore, of course. I think these are two of the most iconic characters from the franchise, aside from maybe like Ron and Hermione, and obviously Harry. To be able to play them, I think would be really fun and be a bit more interesting than playing Ron and Hermione, who are just, you know, Harry's best buds. They've got more of that sort of iconography factor from the series, so I think they're more likely to show up. So I'm also going to throw them in the guaranteed, almost guaranteed category. Alright, moving on, we got Ron and Hermione, of course. I already mentioned them earlier. I think they could show up, maybe one, maybe like Hermione or Ron individually, maybe not both. I think they're maybe likely to get in, but just less likely than Harry, Voldemort, and Dumbledore, clearly, just because they're a bit more iconic, I feel. So I'm gonna chuck them in the possible category, right in the middle. And finally, I've got Dobby on this list, just because I think that would be hilarious and goofy and funny, but I don't think it's likely he's gonna show up, but who knows, maybe. I'm gonna throw him in the improbable category, because you never know. Okay, moving swiftly on, we got the Rick and Morty franchise. I think it goes without saying that I think Rick and Morty are pretty much guaranteed to be in this game. I mean, again, one of the bigger franchises that WB has the rights for. It's, I'd say, we're in the peak of Rick and Morty craze right now. We probably had it a couple years ago at Pickle Rick, when that was a thing. But, I mean, the world is still going crazy for Rick and Morty, so it just goes without saying. So I think, again, Rick and Morty are almost guaranteed to be in this thing. Not much else to be said about that. When it comes to other secondary characters from the show, I've got down Bird Person, just because, again, kind of like Dobby, I think it's super unlikely, but I think would be a really fun pick. So I've got him down there. And also, as I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't really talk about leaks a lot, but I heard rumors of a leak that a flying head will be a character from the episode Get Swifty, which I don't know if I personally agree with. That seems like a very strange pick, but again, you never know. Just throwing that out there as well. I'm gonna throw Bird Person and Flying Head both in the improbable category, but I would honestly really enjoy seeing Bird Person in the game. I think that would be kind of a personal favorite of mine. Okay, moving on again. We got Lord of the Rings, one of the biggest franchises WB has in their catalog. I think it goes without saying that Gandalf is going to be in this game. He is most likely going to be in it. A lot of speculation for him. I think he'd be really fun. Clearly would go in the mage class, so that's an easy pick right there. Secondly, I think Legolas would be really fun. He would be able to have some good ranged attacks with his bow and arrow. Could be really fun and cool. He's also super iconic. So I'm going to throw him in the almost guaranteed category as well. Now, here's when things get a little tricky, because I think Aragorn also could be really fun, but I'm going to throw him in the possible category. Now, my reasoning for doing this is simply just because I think he, even though he is like one of the main characters from the original trilogy of books and movies, he's kind of a little less iconic than Legolas and Gandalf, simply because he's just, you know, a regular swordsman guy. But again, you never know. He's a pretty popular character. He's just, again, a regular guy, so it's a little bit less possible in my eyes. But he is a swordsman, and we have a swordsman class in the game, so kind of fits in well with that. So he's going to get thrown in the possible category. I'm also going to throw Gollum in the possible category. I think he's way more iconic than Aragorn, but it would be a little weird translating him into the game, maybe. Who knows? Again, super iconic. But I'm going to throw him in the possible category, as well as Frodo Baggins, because Frodo is equally as iconic, but translating him into a fighting game may be a little more difficult than, say, Gandalf and Legolas, who are both iconic and both seasoned fighters, I suppose. So there you go. For the improbable category, I'm going to throw Gimli in there, as well as Bilbo Baggins. I think they're both super cool characters, but again, kind of lacking the iconography of some of the others, and also might be a little more difficult to translate into that fighting game genre scene. But I think they're popular enough to be worth an honorable mention at least, so we're gonna throw them in improbable. Alright, moving on to Looney Tunes. We already have Looney Tunes in the game, of course. We got Bugs Bunny, my boy. So I think it's pretty clear that we're probably gonna get Daffy Duck. I mean, Bugs and Daffy go together like butter and toast, like milk and cereal. You can't have one without the other. So Daffy, I think, is pretty guaranteed, almost guaranteed, to be in this game. I'm also gonna throw out Lola Bunny as a possibility, because I think she's gaining a sort of resurgence. WB's trying to push her character a lot. Even though it may not fit in with the fighting genre more, I feel that WB kind of just wants to push this character a lot further. So that's my reasoning for that. I'm also going to throw out Marvin the Martian, Elmer Fudd, and Porky Pig, and I'm going to throw them in the improbable category. I don't personally believe that there will be a ton of Looney Tunes characters in the game. I think at most we'll probably get 3. And I believe those would be Daffy Duck and Lola, if anybody. But you never know, they could be any of these 3 as well. Also, I think, just a personal pick, I would love Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Kind of like a duo character, like Tom and Jerry, I think would be really fun. But I think I'm going to throw them in improbable as well, simply because it might be a little difficult to translate them into the game. But I think Wile E. Coyote would be super fun and has possibilities to throw in different moves with his like sign and stuff. I don't know, I think it just sounds fun. Alright, moving on, we got a weird one now. I'm thinking Space Jam, I'm thinking Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Why not? That would be pretty funny. I think Michael Jordan has a less likelihood to be in this game, simply because, you know, he's in the old Space Jam, the original. So I'm going to throw him in the improbable category. But again, you never know. LeBron, on the other hand. New Space Jam and New Legacy came out not even that long ago, a couple years ago now. So I think it's pretty likely we might see LeBron James in this game. I think that would be pretty fun. So I'm going to throw him in the possible category. Right, moving on again, we got The Matrix. I think this one could be really fun. I think it's a given that they're probably going to add Neo. That just seems too iconic to not do that. I mean, everybody would love that. So I'm going to throw Neo in the almost guaranteed category. I'm also going to throw Morpheus in almost guaranteed, because again, he's just so iconic. He's like the mage, tutor, character. Why not? Throw him in there. Trinity, I think would be really cool as well, but she's a little less iconic than Neo and Morpheus, so I'll throw her in the improbable category. But again, you never know. I also believe that if they would add a Matrix character, they would probably only add 1 and 2 at most, and if they would do that, I think it would be Neo and Morpheus, but who knows, we might get all 3, we'll see. Okay, moving on again, we got Scooby-Doo. Of course, we already got Shaggy and Velma confirmed for the game. They're in the closed beta right now. I think that's pretty cool, but of course, we're missing Scooby. Where the hell is Scooby? He's gotta be in this game somewhere. I think they're saving that for launch. I'm gonna throw him in almost guaranteed. Now, we have the rest of the mystery gang. We got Fred and Daphne. What about Fred and Daphne? I'm gonna ignore Scrappy-Doo, of course, because I don't think I have to explain myself, but Fred and Daphne, where are they at? Who knows? I honestly don't think they would add every single member of the mystery gang in this game. It would feel a little bloated, I feel. I guess it just depends on how large the entire cast is, but I'm gonna throw Fred and Daphne in the improbable category, although I would love to play as Fred, personally. I think that would be really funny. Now moving on to Mortal Kombat. Let's do this. I think Scorpion, it would be super fun, but I don't know, I just have a feeling that they're gonna hesitate adding Mortal Kombat characters. Even though this is a fighting game and it just, makes sense. So I'm gonna throw Scorpion in the possible category. I know, I personally think he should be in almost guaranteed, but I just have a feeling they're not gonna do it, but who knows. Sub-Zero and Raiden, on the other hand, I think would be improbable. They're also just as iconic as Scorpion, I think, but again, Scorpion's kind of just the lead sort of mascot of the series at this point, so I think if anyone, it would be Scorpion. I think it would be really cool to get a Sub-Zero skin for Scorpion at least, because their builds and costumes are pretty similar. Movesets, not so much, but it would just be a skin, so yeah. Moving on to DC Comics. Of course, we already got a lot of characters in the game already. We got Batman, we got Superman, Harley, and of course Wonder Woman. So who else are they gonna add? I think we're almost guaranteed to get the Joker, right? He is the most iconic character from the comics, from DC, that we don't have yet. I mean, we have Harley, but we don't have the Joker. What? We have to have the Joker, come on. He's gonna be in this game. That's a guaranteed. He's gonna be in the game. Now, as for the rest of the characters, I don't know. Personally, I think all they're gonna add is the Joker, because we already have a lot of DC characters in the game, but they have so many iconic characters to choose from, you could honestly pick anybody. But I personally think in the possible category would be the Flash or Lex Luthor. Maybe, I think that would be pretty cool. Lex Luthor in like a mech suit, almost akin to like the Injustice games. That's my belief, but I mean, who knows? You've got so many characters to choose from. Down in improbable, I've thrown Darkseid in there, because, I mean, like, he's basically the Thanos of the DC world. I think he should be more iconic than he is, but that's just due to, like, his representation in media, but whatever, well, that's another story. But, I mean, he's super strong, he's really fun in Injustice. I think it just makes sense for him to be in this game. And I've got a little personal pick down here as well, which I think is really improbable, but I'm going to throw out Deathstroke just because, again, I think that would be super fun to play as Deathstroke in this game, but he's definitely just a personal pick from me. Alright, moving on to Adventure Time. I think it's almost guaranteed that we're going to get Marceline. I think she would be super fun and would just be a perfect pick for this game. Of course, we already have Finn, we already have Jake, and that's it. I mean, honestly, I'd be cool with just Finn and Jake, but I would love Marceline as well, so I'm going to throw her out in almost guaranteed. I don't have any other notes for any other characters, but like, I mean, there's so many to choose from. You could have Ice King, PB, Flame Princess even, but I don't know, I don't think any of them would be probable at all. Maybe Ice King, a little bit. I'll throw him in like the possible category, I guess, but who knows. And speaking of Cartoon Network, I really want Mordecai and Rigby from Regular Show to be in this game. I think that would be so much fun. If they could make a duo situation like Tom and Jerry, I think that would be amazing. Have them fighting together alongside each other. I think if they would add anyone from Regular Show, it would just be Mordecai and Rigby. That's it, no one else. I put them down as improbable, but it's maybe possible. Who knows? I think, again, this one's kind of like a personal pick, but I think people would really enjoy that, so yeah. Down to the Monsterverse. There's been a lot of speculation for King Kong and Godzilla to show up. I don't even know how they do that. Like, I don't even know how they're gonna do the Iron Giant. Like, he's such a big character. Is he even gonna be playable? I mean, I assume so from the trailer, but I mean, if they've already added the Iron Giant, I guess it kind of goes without saying that they could add King Kong and Godzilla as well. I'd just be curious as to how they translate it into the game. Like how in Super Smash Bros. They had to just shrink Ridley to fit him on the stage. Maybe they'd do something like that, I don't know. So I'm going to throw them out in the possible category, because I think they're too iconic not to add, but also, I don't know how they translate it into the game, but again, I guess we'll have to wait and see. We're almost at the end now, almost reaching the honorable mentions sort of section. Right before then, I want to throw out the Ninja Turtles. I think they'd be guaranteed to be in this game at some sort. They're just too iconic not to add. I mean, I think they would add not each individual turtle, but like they would add one turtle and you could pick your skin. I think that would be the way to go. Or even in your moveset, you could like summon each turtle and change, kind of like Pyra and Mithra in Smash or the Pokemon Trainer. You can like switch between them, maybe like that, I don't know. But I think just picking your skin would probably be more likely. I'm also going to throw out Fred Flintstone. I think he is so iconic, they're just going to add him. I mean, what else is there to say? You could have a move of him using his car, running on his legs. I think that would be super funny. But I don't think they'd add anyone else from the Flintstones series, just Fred, because he's, you know, iconic. Now, down to the honorable mentions. Most of these are ones that I don't think will be in the game personally, but I mean, a lot of them are pretty iconic. So I think they'd be super fun, but I personally don't think they'd be in the game. But again, we'll just have to wait and see, and they're worth mentioning here, so let's get to it. I think Mad Max would be super fun, super cool, pretty iconic, but I don't think he would be so popular enough to get in this game, so I'm going to throw him in the improbable category. Next we got Pennywise. I think again would be super fun, kind of a personal favorite pick for me as well. I think I would probably main him if he was in the game, but I mean, he's from a horror series, even though it's kind of like baby's first horror movie sort of thing. It's still kind of, I don't know, there's something about it that just seems like it may not happen, so again, improbable category. Next we got the Gremlins. Super iconic, super cool. I think that would be really fun, but translating it into the game, much like King Kong and Godzilla, it just seems a little odd. Like, how would you translate these tiny gremlins in the game? Who knows? I'm gonna throw them in improbable as well. Next we got a couple who are a bit more possible in my opinion. We got Ben 10. I think he is just possible he's going to be in this game. I think he's super cool, has a lot of opportunity to for a cool moveset to switch into different characters. Like Diamond Head I think would be super fun. I would like to see classic Ben 10 from like the original series, would be super cool. So he's in the possible category. Next up we got Animaniacs. I think they're just synonymous with WB, so like, I think it's pretty likely they'll be in this thing, but who knows? So I'm gonna throw them in the possible category, because I mean, they're not too relevant nowadays, but I think people know them well enough now that they'd probably be in this thing. Next up we got Austin Powers. I think, again, he's super iconic, but kind of just doesn't fit into the whole vibe of this game, so he will be in the improbable category. Next we got Freddy Krueger. Much like Pennywise, he's super iconic, but I mean, he's from a horror franchise series, so I don't know how well that would work out in translating into this game, but who knows? Maybe. He's a maybe. But he's definitely in the improbable category. And next up we got Pinky and the Brain. This is again kind of like a personal pick. I think this would be super fun. Much like Animaniacs, they're not really relevant anymore, but I think they're still kind of teetering on the edge of pretty iconic. I think they would also be really cool to translate into their combat moveset, much like Tom and Jerry. Just have them as a pair. But again, they're like mice, so translating that into size in the game would be my only concern, I suppose. So I'm gonna throw them in improbable, but again, you never know. So that's my entire list. I hope you enjoyed it. If I missed anything or any other characters that you would love to see, throw it down in the comments. I'd love to hear your favorite character if I missed any. Or even, yeah, just throw your favorite character from this list and the one you'd most like to see in this game. Throw that down there in the comments as well. I'm super excited for this game. I can't wait for it to come out. I think it's super cool that it's going to be free to play and cross-platform. I think that's a major good step in the right direction. Super excited to play this one. Hope you enjoyed the video as well, and I'll see ya in the next one.